we go for launch.
5.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting. Anything can happen in the next half hour.
4.
My friend, we cannot keep this a secret any longer.
This whole thing is insane.
3.
Quiet, please. I am analyzing.
Where's the kaboom?
2.
There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
1.
Good evening, and welcome to Night Gallery. A potpourri of paintings slightly tilted left of center. Don't be frightened. A collection of oils and still lifes that share one thing in common. You won't find them in the average salon or exhibition hall or art museum.
Get out of here!
We deal in paint, pigment, light and shadow, realism, surrealism, impressionism, and ghost stories.
It enters your system like a chill, and then it grows like a cancer.
These are not your ordinary canvases. You don't find Monet in a mausoleum or a Van Gogh in a graveyard.
Is it his stare that gives me the chills, or is it really cold in here?
Not quite real, the almost real, and the frankly and flagrantly unreal.
This is some kind of trick.
That's what we deal with here, the bizarre. The name of this place is the Night Gallery.
Greetings, my fellow galactic travelers, and welcome back to Planet 8. This is your mission commander Larry speaking to you from our hidden base. Chief Engineer Bob is here by my side as always in the command center, and circling Planet 8 in our orbital spy satellite is Reconnaissance Officer Karen.
And we are back. Joining us, Lord Bloodraw. Welcome, Lord Bloodraw. Always a fine time to have you with us. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite shows ever since I was a little kid. We'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, because all the shows all the episodes were not, what they could have been. But we're going to be talking about the Night Gallery, Rod Serling's Night Gallery, and we're all big fans of the Twilight Zone, and I would say 90, maybe even 95 or more percent of the Twilight Zone episodes were great. They just had, as an anthology series, great actors, great stories. Mm-hmm. Rod Serling had a good, bit of control on the stories, and he also had people that he trusted and had talent working on the show as well. So let's just get right into it. November 8th, 1969, the pilot was aired on television. Now, this was put together through Universal Studios, as early as like 1965. They started talking about Night Gallery. There's memos. The book that I showed you, An After Hours Tour, has some memos going back and forth between Rod and some other people. 1968. And a year later, 69, we got the pilot. The pilot had Roddy McDowell. Pardon me as I get, Mission Commander likes it when he has notes. Usually I'm just like, oh yeah, that guy that, did that thing.
Roddy McDowell and Ozzie Davis.
Yes. And so, right, and there was this beautiful, that was the thing too. We were talking offline before we started the show. Where did all those paintings go? Lord Bloodraw?
No, where did those paintings go?
I thought you were going to say, I have several. I'm like, whoa.
Where did they? You're there. No, I wish I did.
I thought one interesting thing on the pilot was when Rod Serling walks into the gallery, there's 3 paintings, but they have covers over them.
Right.
And when he introduces the cemetery, he does not he takes the cover off the painting, but instead of seeing the painting, it kind of wipes to
the show,
the episode. So you didn't have a painting at the beginning although there was a painting featured in the episode, it shows up after the episode type of thing. But Rod Serling just pulled the cover over on Karen.
Karen. We'll
there we go.
Some dog issues.
Yeah.
No worries.
All right.
You thought Rod Serling like pulled the cover over on you?
You know what though? Speaking of the paintings and speaking of the cemetery, I believe I heard that Greg Nicotero has that series of paintings as they progress. I believe he has that series of paintings. And Halloween time, they'll put up different ones to like freak out guests and things like that.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be cool. And you know, the story was such as that, you know, his uncle or
his uncle?
Yeah,
Roddy McDowell's uncle
was
coming. His uncle is basically filthy rich and owns the mansion, and it had a family cemetery out in front.
Right.
And his uncle was in a wheelchair, couldn't speak. He's like literally almost on his deathbed, and Roddy, being the diligent nephew that he was, goes up and wheels him over in front of the window, opens it up and lets the cold air blow on him and locks the wheelchair down and leaves, basically forcing him into pneumonia and killing him. But as they bury him, and as Larry was saying, there's a progression of paintings, a painting on the wall, and every time he looks at it, it's got a different feature to it.
Right.
Like
it's the house with the cemetery.
Grave, an uncovered grave.
Right.
Yeah, a casket coming up. And then eventually the uncle getting closer and closer to the mansion.
Right.
And spoiler alert, it turns out that the butler did it. He paid an artist to do a series of paintings, and they would just swap them out to freak him out. Until the end.
Right. Go for it.
That's right. Until the end, where the painting basically does the same thing to the butler, and Roddy McDowell's getting out of his grave and coming towards it. But
I think that's easily the best story of those three. To me anyway.
It was all downhill from there. No.
I mean in that movie, the next one, Eyes.
Well, let me just say real quickly before we move on, Roddy McDowell is superb. Ozzy does a great job too, but Roddy McDowell doing his version of a Southern drawl,
right?
You know, when he does his dialogue, and Ozzy's character's name is Portafoy.
Portafoy.
So many times.
Portafoy.
Mr. Portafoy.
Mr. Portafoy. Now, Lord Bloodroy, you were saying the next episode in the pilot, Eyes.
Yeah. With her name is escaping me right now.
Joan Crawford.
Actress? Thank you. Joan Crawford.
I always say Mommy Dearest. Oh, Joan Crawford.
Mommy Dearest.
That supposedly was like one of her last roles.
I don't know. Yeah, but I think it was.
Was it
I think her last role was Trog.
Was Trog out? Oh yeah, Trog was mid-70s, right?
Yeah, Trog was later.
All right.
Trog was later. That was her swan song, was
dignified than Trog.
Right, yeah.
Could have gone out on top, but get that Trog done.
Well, you know.
She plays this rich blind woman whose surgeon basically finds a way to transplant eyes into her so she could see. And Tom Bosley, the father from Happy Days, is this poor, downtrodden gambler addicted to gambling who sacrifices his eyes for this woman. His story never goes anywhere. This story is, by the way, this is one of the first things that Steven Spielberg ever directed.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was quoted as saying, directing Joan Crawford was like pitching to Hank Aaron your first time in the game.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Sure.
I mean,
she was an old pro. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's directed beautifully. The story is told beautifully. But I found the story kind of weak. in itself, she gets the implants. She's left alone in this high-rise penthouse, and she's told a certain time when she can unwrap the bandages. And just as she's unwrapping the bandages, there's a power blackout. So she thinks she's still blind. And she's, as I remember, stumbling through the apartment, and doesn't she go through the window?
She does.
Yeah. Yeah, she goes through the window and falls to her inevitable fate. I was really hoping, because Tom Bosley did an amazing job in that. You feel so sorry for this guy, you know, and I'm waiting for him to have some kind of, you know, comeuppance to go his way, and it doesn't. Maybe after she died, they put his eyes back in. I don't know.
Hey, you want to save those eyes
that's the way
for me
that
over
ended.
there?
What's that?
Hey, you want to save those eyes for me over there?
Yeah. I want those back.
I'm gonna say, because Rod Serling wrote this one.
Yes.
And
all three of them.
you know, and Tom Bosley's a great actor, but you know, the majority of the script was for Joan Crawford. I mean, she still had, you know, some name recognition, and you know,
anything she was in was for Joan Crawford, even if it wasn't for Joan Crawford.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't the best, but I dug it. I thought it was pretty
I enjoyed
good.
it.
You know, Rod had a lot of people falling out of windows in the Twilight Zone, and you know, that's just what he went with on this one.
Why not?
He was with the KGB.
Yeah. Let me see here.
Forgotten what the third one was called.
Escape Route.
Yes.
Again, written by Rod Serling, directed by Barry Shear. Joseph Strobe. Was Richard Kiley, Sam Jaffe, Norma Kroon. I love the introduction that Rod gives on this, and I'm quoting, "And now the final painting, the last of our exhibit, has to do with one Joseph Strobe, a Nazi war criminal hiding in South America, a monster who wanted to be a fisherman. This is his story." And, you know, Buenos Aires, 1965, Joseph Strobe, alias Gruppenführer Helmut Arndt, former deputy commander of Auschwitz. Yeah.
Larry's talking in tongues. What is this?
Trying to. And again, Rod, you know, how many Twilight Zones did we have? You know, famously, I can't think of the actor's name, but he went back to Auschwitz.
Yes.
Right? We just heard you offer the apology for all the monsters of your kind.
Yes.
Is that correct? This was, I thought, okay, you know.
Yeah.
What the curator and the security guard are led to the spot by the scream, but find no one. As they leave, they hear a strange and persistent noise, faint and far off, like a human cry. They turn back to where the picture of the fisherman had been, and the security guard informs the curator that the picture was on loan and had been taken away that evening. In its place hangs the picture of the concentration camp inmate nailed spread eagle on the cross. You know, kind of like a Jesus
crucified. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Pleasure. It's a solid comeuppance story. I mean, like you say, he did a couple of Nazi stories, and each one of them got their suitable just desserts.
Right.
In the end. Yeah.
Right.
Like Rod Serling himself fought in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's a paratrooper.
He was a paratrooper. That's right. That's right. Saw his closest friend get decapitated by a supply airdrop.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dealt with PTSD later on in life. His daughter has talked about it, and Serling has talked about his issues with dealing with things that happened in the war.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you kind of see it, yeah, in some of his Twilight Zone and this Night Gallery. And I think there's certain themes to his work that recur. There's certain episodes of the Night Gallery that are quite reminiscent of his Twilight Zone episodes too. And it's just recurring themes of, wanting to return to childhood or easier life, or, there's a lot of stuff like that. But
there were a ton of, and we're talking Night Gallery, but Twilight Zone episodes that dealt with going home and home not being home, whether it was another dimension or you're fading away. 4 of you come back, and then 3, 2, 1. So I can understand him, kind of going through this type of PTSD, which they didn't understand back then. I know how many veterans suffered.
Back then they would just say, suck it up.
Right, right. Or here's some medication.
Well, I mean, World War II, it's like, men were men. So it was like, you didn't talk about your problems. You didn't,
Right. You went and drank.
Go to psychiatrists or counselors or anything. You just dealt with it.
Yeah. And that whole mentality led to, that's right. That whole mentality led to the, another, like you say, one of his main tropes, Twilight Zone, and a couple in Night Gallery, were the put upon businessman who just could not make it in this kind of fast world and was expected to do it. Expected push. Yeah, that's be hard drinking and hard charging and that kind of thing. And that's the theme of one of the best Twilight Zone episodes, which is oddly enough not horror and not science fiction at all. They're tearing down Tim Riley's bar.
I was gonna say,
great episode, incredibly well written. William Windom, who is one of my favorite actors, he, no matter what he's in, no matter what, how small a role he's got, he shines in it. And he's this old ad executive who's starting to slip a little. He's got this young kind of, apprentice nipping at his heels, trying to get him out of his job, played by Bert Convy. Of Tattletales fame, if you remember that game show.
Yes.
Well, he was doing like novelty records too.
Right, that's right. The Monster Hop. The Monster Hop. Yeah.
Monster Hop, yeah.
Yeah, and also played the worst cop in the world in Bucket of Blood. He pulls his gun on the guy and he whacks him in the head. His name escapes me. Anyway, he plays this ad executive who's crumbling under the stress, and he hears that this bar that his dad used to frequent and he would go to when he was a younger man, Tim Riley's bar, is being torn down. And it's kind of the last straw for him, and it brings back all of these memories, and he goes to the bar that's basically a wreck now, with a bottle, gets drunk in the bar, in his mind goes back in time and experiences the good times that he had in that bar. But there's a hopeful ending to it. He hears he's retiring, or he quit, or he's retiring.
He was fired.
I think he got fired.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
They no longer needed him. I mean, it was a very downtrodden story,
Yes.
Yeah.
But
and the memories in the bar were like, someone returning from war and like an anniversary or a wedding, or it was all these celebrations and warm feelings with friends and family, and even the cop that comes to like, who the hell's in the bar? He's like, come on, let me take you home.
Yeah.
And he understands that it's the neighborhood hangout or was.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And he kind of leaves the bar and he hears singing across the street. They're singing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow. And he walks in, and it's the people that he works with that are throwing him a party.
It was the secretary, the secretary assistant who really, I mean, cares for him.
Yes.
And wanted to show him, I won't say he was necessarily suicidal, but maybe. I mean,
you kind of get that idea.
He was really, and like you said, Lord Bloodbraw, there was no witch or Satanists.
Nothing supernatural.
No.
At all.
It was just a person dealing with loss.
Yeah.
And life.
Right. And beautifully written. Rod Serling said is one of his favorite things that he's ever done. Yeah, he really.
Go ahead, Walker.
No,
it was nominated for an Emmy.
Really?
Best program, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
I spoke about this before. Kino Lorber put out each season on DVD or Blu-ray. I think Blu-ray. And that's one of the episodes, because they were explaining when they showed the show on TV, they would put these like little minute and a half episodes because you had to have 23 minutes worth of television or 25 minutes, whatever.
Right.
And what they did is they showed the episodes as they were intended, uncut. And that was one of the episodes. I mentioned this a number of episodes ago, podcasts ago, where on Kino Lorber you can watch the original episode uncut next to the cut, and they'll just put a black bar for a minute and a half. And what a difference the story is with everything intact.
Sure. That's right. Sure.
Just a real beautiful episode. But so what we'll do is we'll jump around. We don't necessarily have to go season 1, 2, 3.
No.
What are some of the episodes that kind of like, real quickly, Jack Laird. Yes. He was the producer on the Night Gallery. One of the things I found interesting, I didn't have enough time to research it. Usually on a series, you're going to have a producer, an executive producer, an assistant producer, 2 or 3 producers. Night Gallery only had Jack Laird.
Yeah.
And so he was the one who pushed a lot of the comedy elements, and it was driving Rod crazy because Rod's like, look, this is a horror anthology. I don't want, the Phantom of the Opera knocking a mask off of a female version of the Phantom of the Opera.
Right.
And that was played, the Phantom of the Opera was Leslie Nielsen, who later, became this famous comedian. But he did serious roles.
Oh, he did one of the
before he started
best.
doing. Yeah. There's an episode I don't know if Walker's going to talk about, but we talked offline, and it's very disturbing. And he was in it. But no pressure, Walker. Well, you can talk.
I kind of, it's funny because I kind of like some of the shorts.
Well, some of them are good.
I mean, there's one with Adam West where he's playing like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Right.
And he's just like, he's Dr. Jekyll, and an assistant gives him the formula and he drinks it and he's like, and becomes Mr. Hyde. And then he's like, how many times have I told you, easy on the vermouth?
Right.
That's like at the end of it. But
just these little, little, like you'd see in Mad Magazine Halloween issue, right? Those
well, you know what it made, right? It made me think of Laugh-In.
Sure.
And they'd have and then everyone's like dancing with like, Burt Reynolds or whoever, and it's like, what's going on?
Right.
I mean, I realize LSD was prevalent in the 60s, but Bob, some people loved them and some people did not, and Rod was one of the ones who did not. It's not what ended the series. There was a lot of elements that led up to that, but that was one of the things that he and Jack
it was kind of the comedy relief between the serious episodes.
There were some good ones. The one about the mouse on the moon and the big mouse trap.
That was so awful. That was like a 5-minute segment, 10-minute segment. And that was so terrible.
Well, there was the one with Victor Buono.
I was going to mention that.
He's in there and he's like,
yes,
he's in like a temp agency and he's trying to find an assistant or whatever.
That's pretty bad too.
And all these very qualified women come through and he's like, nope. And then this one woman comes in who is working for the agency and she's rather plump.
Rubenesque.
And he's like, I want that one. And then they're like, okay, when can she start? Oh, well, I'll just eat her here.
Right.
I was like the end of it.
Yeah.
But
I was just going to say, from what I've read and seen, Serling not only had an issue with the comedy segments, he had an issue with the direction the series took as a whole, because I saw a lot of things where he was saying, like I saw some interviews with where he was like on the Dick Cavett show and stuff. I see Lord Bloodrod nodding. Because he was saying, I think he wanted to go for something a little more subtle and nuanced and sophisticated. And he's saying, well, they want to have the walk through the cemetery every week, and they want to have the, the ghouls and this and that. And so I feel like he was still wanting to go more in that direction of what they'd done with Twilight Zone, where he could maybe talk about, social issues, or he could kind of, do something that was a little more adult, and the network wanted, the monsters jumping out, or, blood flying or whatever.
More like the Twilight Zone, but just with a more horror.
Right.
Yeah.
They wanted more Kung Fu and Dynamite.
There you go. So I think he was disgruntled pretty much through the run of the show.
Sure.
He didn't have the power, I shouldn't say power, the control.
Creative control.
Right, that he did in Twilight Zone.
Right.
And
well, in that interview, he's asked about that, and Dick Cavett asked him how much creative control he had, and he said, well, I thought I had creative control until the phone stopped ringing. So all he was doing was like writing his intros, going in, doing them, and that was it. He actually wrote scripts for Night Gallery that were rejected by Larry.
Whoa.
So he had no creative control over it. They just used Rod Serling's Night Gallery to sell the show.
The name.
That would be an interesting book, is to just publish all the unmade stories that he wrote.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the original scripts, because I'm sure a lot of them went through, heavy rewrites. Well, originally the series was going to be called Witches, Warlocks, and Werewolves.
Right.
And Serling said, no, that's not going to happen. That was the title of an anthology, of a book, of anthology of his short stories that were published like a couple of years before that.
That would make me want to watch it.
Yeah, yeah, but you don't think Rod Serling that would have been a great one for like the early 70s, right? Around the time of Monsters and that kind of thing.
Right.
Those books, who published those books? Remember those books that came out? They were like little encyclopedias, and each one was almost like in search of topics. And Larry, talking about, you could buy those books as a series, and each month you'd get sent a different book. My friend Pam had those.
The Bermuda Triangle, or vampires, or
Surprised I didn't have those, because I always like, at school they would have the Scholastic little sheet they'd pass around once a month where you could order books from.
Well,
and I'd sit there and look for all the horror and sci-fi books to order.
Big books, these were like pseudo encyclopedias. They were, Anyway,
some good stuff.
I digress.
I got some cool books off that thing though. I got a Karloff biography, and science fiction in the cinema and horror in the cinema and things like that.
We were talking about the more comedic ones. This isn't one of the little short blackouts, but one of my favorite ones is The Funeral. With something Flynn. I can't remember his name. He played Binghamton, Admiral Binghamton in McHale's Navy.
Joe Flynn.
Joe Flynn, thank you. He owns a funeral home, Silk Lines Funeral Home.
Yeah.
And this guy walks in and says, I'm sorry for your loss, like, commission a funeral. And he says, yes, wonderful. And they talk back and forth. And he says, the deceased. And he says, Jasper. So is it a mother, father? No, it's me. He says, what do you mean? Turns out that Jasper is a vampire. Oh, Jasper was played by Werner Klemperer. Colonel Klink. And he does a great job in this. So he's a vampire, and he explains, look, I never had a proper send-off. I never had a good, kind of tasteful funeral. So I want to have one. And Silkline almost throws him out. Right. But he just said, I'm going to pay you very well. This is what I want. This is when it's going to happen. And he leaves and goes out in the hallway, turns into a bat, and flies out the window. So he gets ready for the funeral. Gets ready for the funeral. Everything looks gorgeous. This stereotypical witch. Can't remember her name. Old Sally?
Something like
The Witch of Salem walks in, a werewolf, various vampires. This guy who is obviously supposed to be Peter Lorre, who I assume is a cannibal, because all he says is tasty. Oh, that's tasty. And they try to have the funeral. The witch starts heckling the verbose vampire that's speaking at the funeral.
That guy, the verbose vampire?
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Andrew.
Yes. Not only wait, is it Landrew?
He was Landrew, and he was also in the Jack the Ripper episode. I'm forgetting the name of it.
You're right.
Gosh, I'm losing my Star Trek credentials.
You're right.
He was the
Wolf in the Fold.
Wolf in the Fold. Very good.
That's
yes.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And the witch heckles the vampire who's speaking. Everything falls apart. She sets fire to the place. The silk line passes out, and it ends with him in his office receiving this package, and it's a tape recorder, and it's Jasper, who says, I'm very sorry that the funeral turned out that way, but was not your fault. You did a wonderful job, and gives him a box of money. And he's going through, it's like, oh. And he looks up, and this creature from another dimension comes in and says, "You come highly recommended. I would like to." Sure. And the gases off of the creature choke him, and he starts to take down notes. I found that it's a beautiful little Halloween decoration of an episode. I love that. Just the classical, and every kind of vampire you can imagine. I mean, Werner Klemperer looks like a normal human except for the fangs. The one who's giving the eulogy is like green. A couple of just pasty-faced vampires. The little guy, Tasty, the werewolf. Werewolf is late for an appointment, jumps out the window during the funeral. It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I don't think Rob Serling wrote that one.
Let's see.
That was written by Richard Matheson, the teleplay, based on a short story.
Of course.
Nice.
Which is funny because we were saying how Rod was like, vampires and werewolves. Nope.
Yeah, right.
But when done a certain way, it works.
Absolutely.
It's actually a very fun episode.
Very fun.
One of the episodes that I really enjoyed was in the first season. Make Me Laugh. First season, and that was written by Rod Serling, directed again by Steven Spielberg, and Godfrey Cambridge plays a comedian. Tom Bosley's in this one again.
That's right. Yeah.
And basically he's bombing in this nightclub, and he's sweating. And it's like a dinner theater type thing because the people are eating and looking at him like, no. He's getting heckled. He goes off stage, and he plays like this serious, sincere, hurting comedian, and it made me think of like Jerry Lewis, or because they put on the wah, but what's that thing with the cheers of a clown?
Yeah.
And he's in a bar. Jackie Vernon plays the he's a genie, right?
Old comic that was on TV.
And he's like, well, Miss Cindy, I have to grant a wish, and I'm behind on my quota or whatever. He says
he'll lose his powers by midnight if he doesn't.
Right. There you go.
He just says he's a miracle making guru.
Miracle making guru, and he has the turban on.
Right.
He has this nice little accent I can't quite place. Miss Cindy. And he basically says, I want to be funny. And it reminded me of Tom Hanks. I want to be big.
Sure.
No, rules. No, anything I say,
Right.
I want to be funny.
Right.
And he gets his wish.
Right.
And he'll just say his name, and everyone's like, ah, ha, ha, like hysterical. You know, he'll say fettuccine, whatever. And it's just, and so he becomes very famous, and he's making money. And again, there's a serious part of it, because before this, he was really telling Tom Bosley how much he hurts, and how all he ever wanted to be was a comedian and make people laugh. He gets his wish. Careful what you wish for. And so now that he's this comedian, famous comedian, he wants to do some serious roles. And there's this play they asked him to come in and not interview. What do you do? You audition.
Yeah.
And they're just cracking up at he's reading this very serious piece, and he gets upset, and he walks out, and he finds the guru again, and he says, "No, Miss Cindy, it's one per customer. I can't give you no, you have to. You don't understand." And he convinces him. He says, "I don't want anyone to ever laugh at me again.
I want to make people cry.
I want to make people cry."
Right.
And he says, "Your wish is granted." And he walks out of the bar, and he's going to cross the street, and he says, walking shoes or something. And
no, he's starting to tell a joke to that flower lady.
Flower lady.
Hey, lady.
And
two Arabs walking to a bar or whatever.
There you go. Yeah. And the bus comes around the corner of the truck or whatever, and everyone screams, and he's dead.
Yeah, and the flower lady cries.
And the flower lady cries.
Yeah. That is a Twilight Zone-esque.
That is, and I love that there
twist.
was, a comedy part of it, and then a, cautionary tale part of it.
That's another theme that he will touch on, is when things get, be careful what you wish for. And people who get their wish, things just become too easy for them. And they become bored with it. One that comes to mind that's kind of tangential to that, it's called Rare Objects, with Mickey Rooney as this gangster. He's just flat out like mob lord.
Yeah.
And there's a hit on him. They don't get him in a restaurant. There's a hit on him. They don't get him. He survives. He goes back to his apartment, and he's been shot, but he's not dying. So he goes back to the apartment, calls one of his henchmen, says, "You need to get me to a doctor. I don't want to find, were you part of this hit? Okay, no, you need to get me to a doctor now." So it gets him to a doctor, and the doctor patches him up and says, what, your heart's running like a trip hammer. Your blood pressure is about to blow you into the next county. You got to stop drinking like a fish and eating like a hippo. And he basically says, well, it's the stress of what I do. And he said, "Do you want out?" And he said, a beautiful line, "I want out so bad the one day I'm going to take a razor and it's going to take a bucket brigade to to clean up the mess." It's like, all right. So he writes down this address and says, "Here, go to this place. Don't tell anybody you're going, but go." And he's like, well, all right. He's intrigued. So he goes to this mansion and meets this older man, this doctor. Raymond Massey is the doctor. And Raymond Massey basically tells him, "I can offer you a long, healthy life of peace, anything you want." And he says, "Well, what's it going to cost me?" And he says, "Everything." So what do you mean? You sign over all your holdings, all of your property, all of your money, everything. And he says, "Well, that's basically high." And he, they're sitting here, offers him a drink, and Mickey Rooney starts to get kind of drowsy. And they call the servant over, and they kind of pick him up. He's not out, but he's drowsy. And all the time he's saying, you know, don't you look at this beautiful silver chalice? It's one of a kind. This painting, there's only one like it in the world. That's what I do. I collect one of a kind things. So he takes them upstairs and they go into this kind of chamber. This door opens and they walk in, and to the left is, I think it's Judge Roy Bean. And it's like, what? No, Judge Crater. Judge Crater. It says, I'm sure you're familiar with Judge Crater and things he's done. And he's in a cage in like a living room, just kind of just wandering around reading a book. Go down a little bit, turn to the right. He's got Amelia Earhart in there. And she's sitting there reading a book. Down a little bit more to the left, Adolf Hitler is walking around in this apartment. And it turns out that the drug he gave him will basically keep him alive and young forever. But he's going to live in this cage. And he takes him down, and Alphonse Kolotny, I think was his name. And he opens the door, puts him in, and says, you're going to have a long, wonderful life. Anything you want, you know, I can provide for you. And he walks out and says, oh, it's a wonderful day. I've collected another rare object.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a good episode.
What you wish for, right?
It's a great episode.
Mickey Rooney, who, you know, famous as a child star, an actor, great straight actor.
Yes.
Great straight actor. Just, yeah, and really shows it in this episode. So many good episodes in this. This series gets so unfairly compared to the Twilight Zone, but then again, 95% of the TV series ever made can be you know, suffer when compared to the Twilight Zone. It's a great series. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I was just looking to see who directed that one out of my own curiosity. Written by Rod Serling,
right?
Yeah, it was written by Rod.
You can tell he's got that cadence. He's got that. What I notice is the rule of threes. When he's describing something, he'll do it in three different ways. I can't think of one example right now, but watch something he's written, and he'll turn a phrase three different ways before he's done with a sentence. Great writer.
Well, that's the old thing. They say, you know, if you want someone to, if you want to tell something to somebody and you want them to remember it, you have to tell it to them 3 times. Like if you'll watch a commercial on TV and they're given a phone number, they're going to say that phone number 3 times.
At least. Yeah.
That's
right. That's right.
So that's kind of like, it's like the 3rd time you'll remember enough of it, but.
Yeah. But it's almost like, I'm sure, maybe he did, I don't know, but it's like he's got a thesaurus open and, you know, how can I turn this phrase 3 times in a sentence?
I had one I really like called The Phantom Farmhouse.
Oh, yes.
Where it's like, I mean, you got David McCallum and David Carradine in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's like they're in this, what do you call it? It's like a commune, or it's a, kind of where people are going to dry out or whatever. And there's a farmhouse that David Carradine sees from his room, but no one else sees it, or, you know, you can't see it during certain parts of the day. So David McCallum goes out to check it out, and he actually finds it, and there's a family living there. And of course, he falls for the daughter, but it turns out that it's a family of werewolves. And it's like, you know, you always get me when you got a werewolf. You know, you tell a werewolf story, well, you got me right there. And it's I thought it was one of the better ones.
Kind of a Howling like, right? Because that was about.
It reminded me of that,
commune of werewolves, yeah.
And then he's getting chased, and then, you know, the female, the one that he fell for, she's a werewolf. She's running out and saves him, and the rest of the family are attacking this other werewolf. But werewolves, David McCallum, David Carradine, that's
What do you want?
trifecta. What more do you want, right? But And I was saying earlier, it's like David Carradine was in that episode. There's also an episode it's called The Big Surprise, where his father, John Carradine, is in it.
That's right.
And he's this creepy old guy that these three kids are, they're afraid to go anywhere near him. And he's like coaxing one of them, come here, come here, come here. I'm not going to hurt you. Come on over here. Right. And he tells him, take this shovel and go to this tree in this park and dig in the ground and you'll find a surprise. And so he's like, he doesn't want to do it. But then curiosity gets the better of them and they go out and they dig in the hole and they find a coffin and up pops John Carradine, who's down in the hole. It's like,
surprise.
No explanation, no reason why he's there. But, is the one that told him to dig, is he the actual person or is the one in the ground the actual person? I mean, what? There's one or the other an illusion. They never really say, but it was just it was a simple episode, but it was pretty good. Good ending to it.
Yeah. It is. Part of the fun too is when you get these known actors and they play against type. Yes. Like, you know them as this, and yet, they're doing that. That's part of the fun, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. And these are all fun episodes we've talked about so far, but some of them, when I was a kid, scared the hell out of me.
Right.
You mentioned Leslie Nielsen, A Question of Fear.
Mm-hmm.
Terrified me. Absolutely terrified me when I was a kid. We were talking about that one, weren't we, Karen?
We were, I think we were doing some messaging about that one.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah.
This whole series when I was a kid, I had a hard time watching it when I was a youngster.
Yeah.
If I was the only room, I wasn't going to watch it.
Well, if you think about it, not so much the third season, but the first two seasons, the opening with the theme and all the images coming at you on screen, it's a pretty creepy, before you get into an episode, is creepy.
It just makes you feel something's wrong.
Because I think when it was first on, I was probably like 10 or 11. So I probably watched it like here and there. I think most of the time I watched it was like late night on Channel 44 on KBHK would show it late night. And that's kind of where I really started watching it. I think I just kind of spot watched it when I was younger, when it was first on. But
yeah, I think I saw it mostly in syndication. And, one of the things I didn't realize until we did this is that The Sixth Sense was a separate show that was only folded in syndication. I thought it was like some sort of, I don't know, sub show within the Night Gallery, like a pilot
That's what I thought too.
But then I was reading about it, and they said they just folded those episodes in syndication, maybe to pad out the Night Gallery. I don't know.
And I found those intensely boring. But then again, I also didn't realize that the original episodes were an hour.
For an hour, yeah.
And they cut them down to a half hour so no wonder they didn't make any sense.
Well, it was also when Night Gallery started, they called it like a wheel program.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was rotating with like McCloud and a couple other shows.
Some other shows,
and then McCloud went over to the Sunday night mystery movie, the NBC mystery movie or whatever, where they would rotate like McCloud and Columbo and a few others. And then Night Gallery went off and became its own series.
Yeah.
So
that Question of Fear was really scary, and it's got Leslie Nielsen. So your first impulse is thinking of like, Airplane or The Naked Gun. You start laughing. The Naked Gun.
Police Squad in color.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. But that one especially, the ending of that one is really creepy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's this tough guy who's taken this dare to go into a haunted house, and it progressively gets creepier and creepier, where he sees these apparitions, and there's like a guillotine over the bed, and all this stuff happens. And then in the morning, it's like it's clear that, no, the guy who challenged him has set up all these mechanisms and things, and he's doing this to get revenge for his father, who, it's a World War II thing. It's like, yeah, World War II was only 30 years prior, and the Leslie Nielsen, as a soldier in World War II, had burned his father's hands and done this horrible stuff. So he tells him that when he was asleep, he injected him with this drug that is going to break down his bones, and he's going to turn into like a human slug. And he has set up this whole thing so that he thinks, he's like, well, I tried it on this other guy, and he's down in the basement, and you can go see him. He's quite inhuman, he's
right.
He's
you can
dissolved.
go look. He's beyond caring about anything.
Whenever it comes to a horror show or horror story, whatever, the main rule and law is don't go in the basement.
Oh, it's never a good idea. Never a good idea.
So he looks at the basement door and he just sees this sticky trail leading, and he's so freaked out he shoots himself.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like, even without having to see anything, that there's so much tension and like so much. It's just so scary and freaky.
He was so confident of himself. I did it.
Right. He was such a tough guy.
Yeah, I was.
But then he also
breaks down.
Yeah.
He also, when he shoots him, before he shoots himself, says, "You still lose," and he shoots himself in the head. And he's talking to the guy who made the bet on television, and he says, "No, you lose. There was nothing in the basement."
Yeah, that one is really.
As a kid, I would watch these with my Uncle Gary, my mom's youngest brother, and he usually had a couple of Coors Lights in him by the time we were watching Night Gallery, and I would just freak out. I noticed in watching these, that famous Night Gallery intro with all those weird faces going,
yes,
those are taken from certain episodes, and they were thrown into that. Yes, the one guy that's going like this, there was like a hallucination. I should have wrote down the episodes.
I think it's it's the one with Artie Johnson as a DJ. The Flip Side of Satan.
The Flip Side of Satan, yes.
The Flip Side of Satan.
You.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is actually a really good episode, and he's got to carry the whole thing.
That's right. It's a one-man show.
He's the only actor in the episode.
That's right.
Indeed.
He's like this hip DJ, and he's like flipping records on, and he puts the needle down, and it's like some old Gregorian chant or some kind of some dredge or something, and it's just
he's assigned to this like little podunk town.
Yeah,
and he's like on at 2 a.m. or midnight or something. Yeah,
one of those episodes that scared the crap out of me as a kid.
Yes.
Well, what about I think somebody mentioned it, but the David Bixby or Bill Bixby and the Last Rites for a Dead Druid. There's so many things in there, because you've got Ellie Mae Clampett playing a kind of seductress.
Yes.
And obviously Bill Bixby is this straight-laced guy. There's a couple of noticeable people in there. Who else? Her friend is played by Carol Lindley. So you got Donna Douglas, Carol Lindley, and Bill Bixby, who are all, like, if you grew up in the 70s watching TV, very, recognizable people. But, the druid statue causes all sorts of horrible behaviors. At one point, it's basically suggested that he has thrown a cat on the barbecue grill. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, he's actually, and the maid's like, "Wah!"
Right.
I mean, that one was I'm not saying it's the best written episode, but it's certainly a disturbing episode.
Yes. It is. Yeah. There's something.
It was not a Rod Serling written script.
No.
There is no subtlety. There is no, but for shock value.
Right.
Rod would never drop a cat on the barbecue.
Now, the other Bill Bixby episode, Return of the Sorcerer.
Yeah.
I was going to say Lord
Vincent
Bloodrock
Price.
because the first season, the second season has solid episodes. The third season was kind of like Star Trek. This was the first episode of the third season, and I think it kind of set us up because it was one of, I mean, the brilliance of putting Vincent Price, Bill Bixby, who was the hold on, I have the wife's name. Tisha Sterling played Fern.
Right.
So well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you really get a sense. Bill Bixby played that role like he's totally lost. He cannot figure out what is happening. And he's basically throughout the episode being led around by the nose.
He responds to an ad.
Yeah,
for an
looking for
interpreter.
a job. That's right.
Yeah, he has to translate some old Arabic text.
The Necronomicon.
Yeah.
But he's like the third person to try.
Well,
yes.
What happened to the first two? They never really.
Yeah.
At the end, they never
failed.
tell him. It's just
right. Yeah.
They
The dinner scene is one of my favorite scenes.
Yes.
They're sitting there. Vincent Price is at the head of the table. She's at the end of the table. Bill Bixby is sitting there, and there's a goat sitting at the table. And Vincent says, "Oh, I must introduce you. This is my father. We call him the Falling Tower." No other explanation. This is my father, the goat. Please.
Now, there's pentagrams, there's, all these.
Yeah, but Bill Bixby's like, "Hello, Mr. Tower." Yeah, he's
Hello, Falling Tower.
Yeah. He's getting well paid. What can you say?
Right. Yeah. He's getting amazingly well paid. That's right. Yeah. And Vincent Price is just eating through the TV screen in that episode. I just love
in
it.
two roles.
In two roles. That's right. That's right.
His twin brother.
That's right. Yeah. Bixby. Well, when they're sitting at the table, they hear noises in the hallway. And
Well, it's like he hears it. Do you hear that?
Well, they all hear it, but she pretends she doesn't.
Yeah.
And what is that? Because Bill Bixby says, "Are you expecting somebody?"
Yeah.
She says, "No, it's just the rats." He says, "It's not the rats. It's just the rats." He goes and looks out the hall, and there's nothing there. And finally, Bill Bixby translates this one section, and he says, "Well, okay, I got it, and I'm going to quit now, and I'm leaving." And Vince Price pulls a gun on him and says, "No, you're going to read it." And it's essentially a curse on whoever translates this passage, and it's about how to bring a sorcerer back to life. And it turns out Vincent Price before had said that his brother, he misses his brother a lot. They used to work together, his twin brother. Turns out that he had killed his brother and dismembered him.
Yeah.
But there is a spell that can bring him back. And Vincent Price kind of goes catatonic. And this is when his wife tells him, "Look, this is what happened, da-da-da-da-da." And she says, and she's so up and bubbly about the whole thing. "We're going to have Black Mass pretty soon. You should come. It's great. It's great. This is something you shouldn't miss." He said, "No, thank you." So he's packing. He's getting ready to leave, and he hears the Black Mass happening. And he hears Vincent Price's voice. Then he hears Vincent Price's voice doubled. Oh, but before that, there are body parts crawling down the
A
hall.
hand and a foot. You see him just kind of.
And why was there fog in that house?
I don't know.
Nobody asked the question. Like, even when he first got there, there's fog in the hallway. That would have been my first question. Where's this fog in the hallway coming from? Never asks. Just, I'm getting paid. What the hell? There's fog in the hallway.
Yeah.
The steam from the heater is nothing.
Right. Yeah. And it turns out that Vincent Price's brother has reassembled and decapitates the brother who committed the murder.
Oh,
And
I'm going to have to see this.
oh, you haven't seen this episode?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry to spoil it for you.
Oh, spoiler alert.
It's okay.
I thought you'd seen it. I'm sorry.
Just go la 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 la.
Yeah, right.
No, I fully expected to hear things I haven't seen.
Okay. Well, and at the end, Bill Bixby hears all this while it's happening, bursts into the room, and just she and the goat are there. And the goat's behind the desk. Just everything else disappeared. And she takes
He's doing the
Bixby.
paperwork on all this stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah. She takes Bill Bixby and says, "You're gonna stay, aren't you?" And he's like, "Well, that curse that I read, that whoever translates would be, flayed over hot coals for eternity. That's not real, is it?" She just smiles and leads him down the hallway.
Yeah, but she turns around and smiles at the goat.
Smiles at the goat.
As she's
smiles
leading
at
him
Twin
away.
Towers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Falling Tower. Yeah.
Mr. Towers.
Mr. Towers. Mr. Towers to you. Yeah. Well, just a great episode. And Vincent Price, you can see him loving every minute of it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Just loving every minute of it. He's more serious in the Class of '99.
Oh, that's an interesting choice to use him in that episode.
Yeah. Yeah,
and,
he's much.
Bill Bixby up to that point, what was it? My Favorite Martian.
And Courtship of Eddie's Father.
Courtship of Eddie's Father.
Right.
He hadn't gotten to the Hulk or the Magician yet.
No. But so you see him in that role, and it's like, ooh.
Yeah, he's got straight chops. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite
movies, right? I couldn't name one, but I think he did movies before the TV stuff.
He was in a movie with Elvis.
Was he?
I want to say he didn't star, but he was like a,
supporting character.
Supporting, yeah. What about you, Walkie?
So we don't spoil another one for you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I mentioned a few. I think one of the things I had mentioned before to you guys is I was surprised by Clint Howard.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good episode.
The boy who predicted earthquakes.
Didn't that kick off the second season?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, every time Ron Howard makes a movie, there's a role for Clint Howard. He was in original Star Trek. He's been in new Star Trek. I mean, he's always somewhere. But I was surprised how well he did in that particular episode of Night Gallery, where he had to be a kind of a very sensitive and introspective kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
Predicting the future.
Yeah, it was an interesting story. I don't know if it had much in the way of legs to it, but it was it kind of maybe was a little longer than it necessarily
I think the
had
interesting part of that for me was that usually we'll protect a child. Oh, it's okay, honey. And he protects the future, and he sees the end of existence, and he's protecting the adults by not telling them.
Right. He's protecting everyone else.
It's going to end right, and so it's kind of like this reversal. And kudos to, huh?
I would say it's a great ending because he's telling everybody that tomorrow everyone will get along.
Yeah.
Peace and love.
It'll be a beautiful
and
day.
all the problems of the world will go away and everyone will, live in peace. And turns out there's going to be a meteor hits the earth and blows it up or something. It's
massive solar flare.
It's basically it's the end of the world, basically. But he's telling everyone it's all going to be great starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
And like you said, kudos to Clint. I mean, for a young actor, he did a great job.
He did.
He really did. And just a little fun fact, when I went to Star Trek Las Vegas back in 2018, he was my next door neighbor in the hotel.
Ooh, that's cool.
Did you guys have breakfast together and stuff?
We didn't. We just said hi a few times. That was it.
Nice.
And probably that was for the best. But
you didn't share some Tranya or anything?
No Tranya. No nothing.
I was across the aisle from him at Sinister Creature Con, I think about 2 years ago. Nice guy. Just really, very nice guy.
Seems nice.
Yeah.
We're coming up towards the end of our time together, my friends, and there are so many other episodes I would like to discuss. Is there an absolute favorite, Bob, Lord Bloodraw, Karen, that you want to
But I didn't mention.
throw out there before we?
Well, the caterpillar.
Oh,
which
yeah.
gave me nightmares.
Yes.
Gave me nightmares. Just really quickly, it's set in a plantation in South America. This plantation worker falls in love with the wife of the owner. He meets this scumbag in a bar, and he tells him about his problems. He says, well, there's a bug here called an earwig. And we could... if you introduce it into somebody's ear, it eats into the brain and kills them, but not before they go mad. And he says, for a certain price, I can put one in his room. All right. Guy goes to the house. The deed is done. The next morning, the guy who wanted the husband killed is at breakfast, and he starts going like this, goes up with a napkin, and it's blood. The guy went to the wrong bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the name of the actor? I can't remember.
Lawrence Harvey.
Thank you, Lawrence Harvey. The next scene is him tied to a bed. Just the look on his face, just you could feel it. He's tied, and you could feel that there's something just eating into his head. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And I think a week later, or something like that, they're amazed he survived, and he staggers out of the bedroom, and they're there and they're looking at him, and the doctor says it is just incredible that the earwig burrowed in, went basically around the periphery of your brain, and came out the other ear. And he says, yes, it was terrible. It was it was hell. And
so it did not wrap itself around the cerebral cortex.
Yeah, right. That's probably. And they're looking at each other, and he's like, "What?" And he said, "Well, we found the earwig. I killed it." And they said, "Yeah." And the doctor says it was a female. Yeah. Well, females lay eggs. Man, And by the way, I thought all of that was true. I thought earwigs went into your brain. Absolutely not true. But
it's a myth.
Like for years, terribly, horribly scared of earwigs.
My grandfather had a farm in Atascadero and would warn us about earwigs going in our ear.
Really?
Yeah, it would freak us out.
But you can bring your fear back if you want.
Yeah, apparently I can.
That was a Rod Serling script.
As per Rod Serling, yeah.
So,
horrifying. And I understand that Lawrence Harvey died like a couple of weeks later.
He died the next year. He actually had stomach cancer.
Oh my God.
And I don't know when.
I thought maybe it was a brain tumor.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He didn't. I mean, he did not look great in that episode.
No.
Even before the earwig was inserted, he
was very thin. That I think added to the performance.
Well, he also had the one episode with the spider. Spiders.
Oh, a fear of spiders. Yes, I have a fear of spiders.
Whereas the gourmet reviewer was trying to write reviews, and he couldn't write. He was getting writer's block, and he had his neighbor who had a crush on him, and she kept trying to talk to him and spend time with him, and he's just trying to write his reviews. And then he'd go into the kitchen, and there'd be a spider in the sink, and he'd just wash it down the sink, wash it down the drain, and then he'd go back and try again, and I'll go back in the kitchen. There's 2 spiders in this, so it's like,
no, the same spider came up but bigger.
Yeah, that's right. And so by the end of the episode, this huge spider's running around his apartment, and he locks it in this one in the bedroom.
Oh.
And he goes and gets his neighbor, thinking his neighbor's going to come help him, and it's like she comes up, but by this time she's had it with him.
Yeah.
And he opens the door to go to the bedroom, and she locks him in.
Yep. Yeah.
And he's like screaming and yelling, and she just walks out.
Yeah. Patrick O'Neill?
Mm-hmm.
right? Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think it was Patrick O'Neill.
Yeah. Again, terrified me. Twilight Zone, objectively, overall, yes, a better produced, better written show. But none of the episodes in Twilight Zone ever scared me.
Right.
The best episodes of the Twilight Zone scared me. Really scared me.
Yeah.
And I think those hold up. You know,
Well, yeah,
like,
I mean,
like that one.
well, Twilight Zone was like science fiction, and then Night Gallery was horror.
Science
and
fiction,
sorcery.
fantasy, yeah.
Yeah.
You
Or
got
Then you had
top.
Outer Limits was kind of in between the two, because it would kind of
Sure.
straddle between monsters and horror, and then aliens and
Sure.
sci-fi. But
Yeah. With Twilight Zone, you got a sense of awe and a sense of wonder and that kind of shock of a twist ending, you know, that kind of thing, but not fear. Not real fear.
Right.
You know, like you got with the best episodes of the Twilight Zone.
Technicolor
Night Gallery.
fear.
Yeah.
Just, it was Technicolor fear. It was like right there,
Yes.
old color, just like the Hammer films. And I think that was the same thing for me with the Hammer films as a kid. Like, whoa, it's like lots of blood and right there. And the same thing with Night Gallery. It was like, oh.
But for me, like
little
Twilight
intense.
Zone and Outer Limits, I think the fact that they were in black and white just kind of added to the atmosphere and the.
Oh yeah.
Because you can do more with shadow and, you know, those kind of noir type shots and things.
And it removes it just enough from reality.
Yeah.
To,
From
you
reality,
got-
no,
you got-
wasn't life all black and white back in the 50s and early 60s?
Probably convinced some people.
Yeah.
Right.
It'd be hard.
Before we go away or get into our censor sweep, there were just so many guest stars in this series, the short 3 years that it was on television. Mark Hamill had a 1 minute and 30 second. He was a messenger in There Aren't Any More McBains. And that's a great episode. You know, this guy wants to inherit his dad's money or his uncle's money, and you know, there's only the two of them left, and he wants to practice voodoo and witchcraft, and you know, it doesn't work out at first, but eventually it does, but he can't control the demon. And the way that they show, you know, it's growling like a tiger or a bear. They just show these red eyes, you know, and with a black silhouette, and it's pursuing his uncle and eventually goes after his uncle, and he can't control it, and it goes after his friends too. And so he ends up sacrificing himself to stop the beast, and his one friend survives. But Mark Hamill's like real quick. If you blink your eye, you won't see him.
It's true.
He's a messenger. You know, Bob, you'd mentioned that Adam West. You know, we talked about Leslie Nielsen.
Right.
Victor Buono.
Burgess Meredith was in one of the first season episodes as a doctor with a bag from the future.
Make Me Laugh, the owner of the nightclub, was Al Lewis from the Munsters.
You're right, Grandpa.
Absolutely right. That's
Grandpa
Munster.
Munster.
Yes.
A very young Grandpa Munster
Yeah,
without
that's right.
makeup and stuff.
And it's funny because he's taller than Tom Bosley. So when he's standing there, he looks tall. But obviously on the Munsters, he looks really short because he's playing against Fred Gwynn.
Al Lewis was like 6'3", 6'2", 6'3". He was a big man.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. You don't think it because you think of Grandpa next to Herman.
Right.
But you had, because Fred Gwynn was what? He was like 6'6", 6'7".
And then with those
Then he had the
boots.
boots, and then he had the head, you know, so
Right.
he would tower above him.
There was an episode with Buddy Ebsen playing a cowboy. And he's
the waiting room.
Yeah, the waiting room. They're sitting in a bar, you know, playing cards, these other cowboys, and you know, they have to meet, you know, their fate and pay for their
That's right.
you know, their penance.
That's right. But you
so
mentioned
Bob Crane was in an episode.
Bob Crane was in an episode.
He mentioned Warner Klemperer, but yeah, you got Bob Crane.
Oh, with Joanne Worley, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that now. Yeah, right. But you mentioned No More McBains. That's one of a few episodes that were either inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, like Return of the Sorcerer, or were flat out H.P. Lovecraft stories like Cool
Yeah.
Air and
Yes.
Pickman's
There
Model.
are quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
true
then
flat out adaptations.
John Aston, who played Gomez Adams, was not only in an episode, he also directed at least, I think, 3 or 4 episodes.
He directed quite a few. He was in 2 episodes, one with Phyllis Diller.
Yes.
One by himself, where he was like in a form of purgatory. And I could see where they got that scene in Beetlejuice, pick a number and wait your turn.
Yeah.
And he's dressed up as this hippie with these like outrageous paisley pants and boots and a nice little like leather jacket, and it was great.
Great episode.
Speaking of Pickman's Model, this will be a good one to end on. Based on H.P. Lovecraft. I was talking with Jeff, who couldn't be here tonight. He has to work. And I was like, there's this model of Pickman's model, the monster in it, and it's out of print. And he's like, oh yeah, we were talking about it, and he says, they used castings from the creature from the Black Lagoon in creating that costume for the monster. And I'm like, you're kidding me.
Yeah, you look at the arms and legs on that.
The body.
Body.
So it wasn't the original casting. It was a casting of a casting, that they used on it.
They just changed the torso and the head, right? Because
the torso and the head was their own design. Ghoul makeup from Pickman's Model.
I remember that was a big deal. I think I even heard about that back in the 70s or 80s.
So the artist was Tom Wright. Based on his sketches, designers Leonard Engelman and John Chambers had 6 weeks to create the makeup and the suit for that episode on the cheap.
John Chambers, wow.
And there's something in the censor sweep I'll show you guys. Jeff sent me an article out of a book that he had showing me how they were, piecing the thing together. And I have something that's just beautiful with regards to Pickman's Model.
Mm-hmm.
So,
cool.
Speaking of the censor suite.
Yes, sir.
Oh, last thoughts.
Last
well, there's so many episodes. I mean, even touch on like the doll.
Nope, we didn't touch on the doll.
Yeah, there's a few episodes we didn't touch on, but it's like
the doll
series needs to be revisited. Not streaming anywhere.
No,
for some reason, not streaming anywhere.
Huh?
And
there's a rights issue or something.
No idea why that is.
I've got a DVD set. It's not.
I've got the DVD set.
I had the box set before, and I'll tell you, it's an investment. I don't know if Kino's even selling them anymore, but I would pull the trigger. If you love Night Gallery, get the Kino Lorber set. It is worth the investment. I purchased the packages online so I could watch without, using my Blu-ray player. The quality of those are kind of and they are on the cheap too. So you're kind of getting what you paid for. But I highly recommend Kino Lorber.
Yeah, I watched all the episodes off the DVD set. It was fine.
They're good. Yeah. They're not, they're not bad.
TV shows back then, they were shot in standard def and 4:3, blah blah blah. So
sure,
and you back then you were used to watching them with rabbit ears and whatever. So watching them on a DVD is really
TV
fine.
About that big, yeah.
I give Kino credit. They went in there and they cleaned up what they could clean up. They put some money into putting this set out. You're not getting 1970s television quality. They kind of upped it. That stuff was on film. Not to get into this big thing, but we're all big Star Trek fans, and the original series, they're able to upgrade it and HD it because it was on film. The Next Generation. Unfortunately, Deep Space Nine was not. And so what would, they could upgrade the actors and make it HD, but all the little elements of the spaceships and everything would cost too much money for them to do. Anyway.
Well, that's what happened with most TV shows in the 80s, 90s, where, yeah, they thought, oh, this is great. We're going to shoot them digitally on video, and this is the biggest thing. And yeah, you can only, when you're doing 480p, you can only go to 720 or 1080, and it looks like crap. It's all pixelated and everything else. But yeah, the stuff that was originally shot on film. I mean, look at Lost in Space and Batman. The Blu-ray sets for those, they're beautiful. So, but again, they were shot on film, so they were able to. So there's like a middle ground there where you have to wait till it gets to the point where they were actually shooting in HD, and then then you're back to Blu-rays again. But
yeah, just like Bob said, Lost in Space, beautiful quality. Night Gallery's in the same boat as those guys. So if you are so inclined. Any last thoughts before we get into an
unfairly maligned series that needs to be checked out?
Absolutely.
But you're going to have to invest in physical media, I guess.
Yep. Apparently, at least for the time being, unless whatever.
I'm surprised it hasn't shown up on like Comet or one of those.
Right.
I mean, even MeTV, whatever,
Shudder, somewhere.
Shudder, yeah.
Physical media is not necessarily a bad thing, kids. So invest in it, and you'll have it forever.
Yeah, can't be taken away from you.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a lot of fun. Thank you guys.
Thank you
for getting into this and watching these episodes. I'm glad you guys. So many more episodes. The monster in the pit with that like little green like
little psychopath girl.
Seaweed. Yeah, it's anyway. Lord Bloodraw, always a pleasure. You have anything you want to share with us? Any appearances coming up? This episode's going to hit around November 22nd. So
nothing happening really until February. I'll be at East Bay Comic-Con. I'm not sure of the date, but I know it's coming in February. Check out lordbloodraw.com for everything that I'm doing. From there, you can access my YouTube, all the YouTube shows, my podcast, everything else going on. lordbloodraw.com.
Awesome. Bob, what you got for us this go around?
Well, being an old retired man now, I'm doing my grocery shopping on Wednesdays. I was out grocery shopping today, and I actually found Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. If you like cheap watered down beer, you can get that. And this was how it was displayed on the in the little fridge, right? So I went up there and I turned it around, and Godzilla's on the back. So you can get Pabst Blue Ribbon beer with Godzilla. I bought like a 12-pack of the shorter cans. They're all Godzilla. But I had to find the tall cans because you had Godzilla. You have Mothra. If you can see it, hold it.
What's the tie-in?
Nothing. Mondo's been using this artist named Attack Peter, and so he did all the art for these, King Ghidorah.
So,
and finally,
do you keep the cans full?
These are full right now.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Dump the really awful beer out and display them?
Well, see, when I went to Japan, they had this Ultraman soda, where the soda cans looked like...
Oh, the ones behind you?
Yeah, can you... Well, no, those are Lupin.
Oh.
Lupin the Third coffee cans. But the Ultraman ones are down in there. But yeah, it looks like, like their chest with the warning light and all that. And so I was trying to... They were in the vending machine outside the hotel we were staying in. So every morning we'd be going out, and I'd throw yen in there and get these Ultraman soda cans. So we had them up in the room, and I'm like, I can't put this in my luggage because if I check that in, they're going to explode down in the hold somewhere. So Kevin was like, I'll empty them out. So I'm diabetic. I can't drink sweet soda. So he tried it and he said it was this really sweet bubblegum tasting soda, but it was horrid. But anyway, so yeah, and I had a friend in Japan that sent me these Lupin the Third, these ones and these ones, coffee cans. But yeah, he emptied those out before he mailed them over. So yeah, I'm not into cheap watered down beer, so I'll probably empty those out at some point and put them up on display. Or if Pabst Blue Ribbon is kind of like the rockabilly beer. All the rockabilly guys used to drink Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah.
So, if you're into that kind of stuff, then, party at Bob's. I got the beer. Let's go,
So does that mean in the next Godzilla film, there's going to be product placement for Pabst Blue Ribbon beer?
Could be. You never
Kurt
know.
Russell.
No, Toho's they've got reps over here in the U.S. and they're pushing stuff all over. So you got tons of stuff that's all going to tie in with Godzilla type stuff. But
Godzilla chilling in the volcano with a big can of hats.
Well, I
Godzilla,
hate to
Pabst
admit
Blue
it.
Ribbon.
I hate to admit it, but I got the Godzilla atomic condom. Sorry, Toho. Please don't be offended.
Glows in the dark, and flames appear along the sides.
Finned for your enjoyment.
Finned for your enjoyment.
Oh my goodness. Welcome to Planet 8 After Dark.
There you go.
Yes.
Walker.
Well, that's all I have to share this time around.
That's cool.
Just some cheap
Walker,
beer.
what do you got for us, bud? What's going on in the echoes from the satellite? What have you?
I don't have exciting beer cans or condoms. Sounds like a party.
Work on that for next time, will you?
Yeah.
Let me
Make
see.
sure.
I'll put a little care package together for you, buddy.
Thank you. That'll make my day. Anyway. Echoes from the satellite. So I'm still doing my thing, my show. Just did a review of a book called The Science Fictional Dinosaur, and had a selection of short stories by different science fiction authors. Some you would know, like Isaac Asimov, I'm sure, and then some others you probably wouldn't know, and I can't even remember their names. They're that unknown. So, but interesting book. So that's up now, and then I'm moving on to. I'm going to do at least one review, and I hope more than one, on books by Andre Norton, because Andre Norton was a writer that was very prolific back in the 60s, 70s, and somewhat into the 80s, but sort of seems kind of forgotten nowadays. But her books, and it was a she, a lot of women used male names back then so they could sell more books or at least get published. And she did a lot of fantasy, a lot of science fiction, a lot of what they called juvenile back then, and we now call young adult today. And so I'm just reading some of her stuff, and I think the next review, maybe, hopefully I'll finish it up this weekend and put it out. So that would probably be similar to a time frame for this episode. Try to give her props and talk a little bit about some of the work that she did back in the day, as the kids say.
Back in the day, in the vernacular of today's youth.
What's up, fellow teenagers? So
very cool.
Yeah.
6, 7.
Kids, your mission commander has
Whatever the
a
hell that
plethora. Well, not a plethora, just a couple of books. In the spirit of Echoes from the Satellite, books and books. So you can get this on Amazon. I've been referring to it in researching this. Rod Serling's Night Gallery and After Hour tour. Great book, some pictures, lots of words and letters to read. Which is always fun.
A wee bit tired, huh?
Wee bit. Now, you find a Kickstarter and you're going back and forth. Do I do it? Do I not do it? Do it, because when it's gone, and you're going to look for it on eBay, and you're going to have to sell an organ to get it. So this is the nice case for the Rod Serling's Night Gallery and After Hours Tour 50th anniversary. And this was done by Scott Skelton and Jim Benson. A new forward by Guillermo del Toro. Well, let me show you. This is kind of heavy. Beautiful cover. And this was put together as a Kickstarter by the folks at Creature Feature Press a number of years ago, probably like 3 years ago. And it's absolutely beautiful. We briefly talked about Hell's Bells. Here's that hippie I told you about, John Aston. And it'll give you a little picture of the portrait for that episode, and it gets into so much more detail. And then Pickman's model. I wanted to show you guys. Now, the beauty of this is they get into them working on that suit. And so, sorry, guys. I need to invest. My father-in-law tried to unload to me and Walker his little photo, should invest in it, scanner, where you just put the book down and you pop it up. So,
yeah, you can tell with that costume. I mean, they used hair to kind of cover up the torso, so they didn't have to do a lot of detailing for the torso, and then being
give you guys
able
just
to
a little bit.
do
There's
those
a
arms and
publicity.
legs.
Exactly. That's because they had a short period of time. They only had like 5 or 6 weeks. This is a publicity.
Same thing with like Star Trek, right? It's like, oh, what can we do? We'll go get the uniforms from that show, and we'll.
What budget do we have?
That's the old Irwin Allen method.
Yeah.
Oh, Irwin Allen as well.
Creativity flourishes under constraint.
There was a TV show called Primal Man, and they had worked on you could see the hair on the apes, and then there's the actual monster. You can see the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yes.
Feet and legs, the torso's covered by the hair.
Yes. I remember Primal Man. I remember seeing that, yeah.
So they did a sculpt for the head. That was original.
Wow.
And you know, these photos, I don't know who they got them from, but this is just beautiful. I wanted to share with you guys putting the thing together. I mean, that these photos survived.
Yeah, it really shows the whole process of how they built that.
Oh
suit.
man, I mean.
Oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
They really had to come up with an original face, an original mask.
They had to come up with an original mask.
Scavenged a lot of other pieces here and there.
Absolutely.
So cool.
There is an episode we didn't talk about, Death on a Barge. Directed by Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah.
Who actually starred in an episode. He directed a couple.
I did not realize he had a early director credit.
I didn't either. And just in researching, look at that promotional.
Solid
Serling. Wow. They just really used his name.
You know. Now, the other Kickstarter that was even further back, Rod Serling's Night Gallery, The Art of Darkness. And this was just before COVID. They were going to have a showing of original artwork. Creature Features location had closed at that point, but they were going to find a place to show some of the paintings. And The Art of Darkness. Again, Creature
Wow.
Feature Press. Beautiful, beautiful book. And I'm just going to open to a random page. The diary shows you the portrait and a write-up on what the thought was behind it, what the story was, and how much all of that influenced the piece of artwork that they ended up using in the show.
So does that book have every single painting that was used in the night gallery?
Every single painting, my friend.
Wow, it's nice.
It's a little smoky. It survived the fire, but it's a good sized book. You might be able to find it on eBay, but you're gonna pay for it. And this is, again, I paid a little extra in the Kickstarter to get the nice little sticker with the autographs in it.
Nice.
Just because I sincerely love the Night Gallery. If they ever come out with a Paps Night Gallery,
each can has a portrait painting on the back.
This has a picture of Rod Serling on there.
Yeah. Chad Martin is a big fan, and he got some of those. He's a big fan of Paps in general, but he got some of those Godzilla cans. So I'll let him know about the big bullets, Bob.
Yeah, and you have to watch out because, like I say, when they had them, and I'm not the only one. Someone else on Facebook was pointing out that they put the Paps side out, so you'll walk right by it.
Yeah, because if you're not looking for it.
Well, I think the manufacturer wants their name out there.
Of course, sure.
Yeah, because Godzilla is considered the back of the can, so they want the front with their logo facing out.
Right.
But yeah, I was like, as soon as I flipped them around, I was like, I grabbed two, put them in the cart. Right behind them, there were the other two, put them in the cart. There was still more back there, and they were all Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, Mothra, Ghidorah, whatever. But yeah, if you're just like scanning shelves as you're walking, you would just go right by it probably.
Pass it up.
Unless you drink Pabst Blue Ribbon, and then then you're in for a bit
surprise.
of a surprise.
Well, guys, this was a lot of fun again. Thank you. There's probably a good 12 or 20 more episodes we could talk about. Like Bob said, we didn't even talk about the doll. And that's one of the creepiest episodes. Great Rod Serling twist at the end. But maybe for another show. We'll see. You guys like this 1,000 times on YouTube, and sure as heck we'll do another one.
Right.
Look, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. If you haven't joined our YouTube page, please do. Also, please join Lord Bloodraw's YouTube page. He has a Patreon as well.
Yes.
We appreciate you guys. Stay safe. Take care.
Join Echoes from the Satellite.
Echoes from the Satellite as well. Sorry about that. I assumed you were already part of Echoes from the Satellite, but yes. Take care. Be good to each other. And this is Planet 8 signing out.
Are you at odds with the network over Night Gallery, or do you not want to talk about that?
Oh, no, not really. They say it's Rod Serling's Night Gallery, and it isn't really Rod Serling's Night Gallery. It's somebody else's. And I only write a few of the scripts, and I front the show.
It's not yours.
It doesn't remotely belong to me. I have no proprietary interest in that at all. Some of the shows are quite good and quite interesting, but it's not science fiction, and it ceases to be fantasy. It's sort of a quick run through a cemetery. And it tries to compete with shows which are more popular than it is, namely Mannix, which is very action-packed and full of violence, and I suppose of its type, of its genre, it's very well done. But that wasn't what Night Gallery was supposed to be about, Dick. It was supposed to be a much more cerebral exercise. It was supposed to be much more diversified in its approach to things. It could be all things, science fiction and fantasy and the occult and the bizarre.
But unfortunately, it's been an inconsistent show. But it may do very well. I just wish they'd use somebody else other than me, that's all.
What you're talking about is loss of control, then, I suppose. Did you ever have control over the form?
I thought I had at one point until the phone didn't ring for several weeks. And then I kept wondering, when are they going to ask me? And they never asked me. They've been very nice. They've been very gentle and very good-hearted and warm and very unhostile. But unfortunately, that doesn't come with creative control. And I think in all medium, no matter be it film or TV, the writer should exercise a great deal of control. Yeah. And he doesn't, unfortunately, except on Broadway. And there he has control by virtue of a very solid, cemented contract with the Dramatist Guild, where you can't hire a spear carrier until the writer is duly consulted and gives his approval. Yeah. But the proscenium drama is the only art form in which the writer literally has a say in anything. I see scripts of my own on television, and I wonder who wrote them. I don't recognize them. People aren't there that I wrote about. Lines are said that I didn't write. Concepts are produced, which I have no knowledge of. And that's been the problem of television. Again, I'm beginning to sound depressed, and I'm not. I'm a very happy, contented man.
I can tell you've done nothing but laugh since you came in.
And I'm hanging myself on a lamppost right after the show, but outside of that.
Why can't you just put a stop to that? Just say, I have absolute control, or you'll have to go find yourself another boy.
That's what I've done.
And they went and found themselves
they found another boy. And that's the reason I've come on the show, Dick, to ask if you could use sort of a second, a second fiddle banana type fella. Grim, surly, somber, that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. Sure. That's exactly what we look for here.
On that note, this will conclude this transmission from Planet 8. We would like to thank all of our intergalactic audience for listening. Be sure to head on over to our website at www.planet8podcast.com, where you can get more information on this episode's topic.
For more conversation, find us on Twitter at Planet8Cast.
Or on Facebook at facebook.com/Planet8Podcast.
We want to thank you guys for tuning in each and every episode. We look forward to your input and opinions. Until next time, this is Planet 8 signing off. End transmission.
By George, he's got it. It is the end.